This is the Experience Share podcast,
where I, Mark, the Joe,
and I, Rowan, the Pro,
share our differing experiences in the Pokémon trading card game and competitive circuit.
Whether you're playing for fun or you're trying to reach the top, we hope our Experience Share can help you level up.
If no one was listening, we'd be talking about it anyway.
So if you are listening, then be sure to use what you learn to beat those who aren't.
So, Rowan,
Yes,
I've been
Mark?
thinking about something a lot today.
Is it Pokemon related?
Yes.
Oh.
Did you know that there's no odd number that does not contain an E?
Isn't that concerning?
So Utrecht Regionals, special event, was this weekend.
Fusion Mew won. Owyn Camerman, congratulations again. This guy is going crazy right now, winning 2 majors in a row.
Back to back.
And he switched decks, too. So, multiple weapons in his arsenal, I guess. No longer on the Champao, though. I found that interesting.
I saw on Twitter that he'd been playing Mew at Cups.
Oh.
And he said one of the reasons is he doesn't want to play the Chen Pao mirror. He's like, I want with Chen Pao.
Okay.
More people are going to play Chen Pao. And that's why he played Mew. And you can't spell EU without,
Without
Moo.
Mew with a U, maybe? Okay.
What is this? It's like the fourth or fifth regional
I
that's
think
been
even
won
more
in Europe.
I think I saw maybe Rule posted on Twitter. It was like every region, like Mew has won once, and then in Europe, it's like I think it's 7 times it's won.
Wow, you're the one in North America.
I am. Well, I mean, Vance Kelly won Worlds,
but that was
in Japan.
That was in Japan. It wasn't North America.
I mean, yeah, I've only one to win in North America.
Vance and Fabrizio are ahead of you on the
I
Mew list. I like to remind you about that every time we get the chance.
Maybe I play Fusion Mew to Vancouver, win the event, and bang, I go down as the number 1 Mew player.
I think the only way that you could do that and be respected is if you put Camerman in your Mew deck.
Camerman, like the Lost Zone Camerman.
You can play Mew with Camerman in it.
At one point I actually tested that.
I know.
Okay. So, I was playing DTE Mew and I was like, I'll just use vacuums to get Cram for like a 1 prize option. It was like not awful. It was not good.
I mean, if we kind of look, it's in Vancouver Regionals is coming up in 2 weeks, and we look at Mew and where Mew has been, and like we had Andre top 8 worlds with Mew. We saw the evolution of Pokemon. Great Pokemon story right now. Rowan in the first regional back post pandemic, we went together. And Rowan was playing high school rugby at the time.
Oh, yes.
And he was like, hey, rugby's great. I'm going to go around and hit some people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a message from Rowan's brother that was like, Rowan has a concussion.
Yeah, I got smoked. Oh, my gosh.
He got hit. He did not play. And we do not recommend this for anyone. But Rowan loves Pokemon so much that 3 days post concussion, I didn't think he was going to come to the regional. He came.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, hey, catcher's in the deck, right?
Yeah, catcher Mew. It was really good.
And you gave the list to other world champion, Andrew Strada.
Yep.
And world's finalist,
Michael Long.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they both got top 8.
Mm-hmm.
And you got top 64.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember you, the first day, playing the whole day with sunglasses.
Yeah, I had sunglasses all day. My head was pounding. Between rounds, I would literally just leave the venue, go find like a quiet spot, and like lie down. That was probably the roughest regional I've ever played in.
You would not recommend playing with a concussion to anyone.
Yeah, no, definitely do not play with a concussion. Also, don't play rugby. That sport is super dangerous, and you literally have no safety equipment. Like, at least in football, you got like a bunch of padding, helmets, and like all that. Rugby, like literally nothing. You got a mouth guard. So
I just want to say for context, and again, we do have a lot of EU listeners where rugby is a major sport, and in Australia, rugby is a major sport. Rowan had never played a contact sport to that point in his life.
No.
Right?
Just basketball.
Part of it is knowing how to take a hit.
I guess.
So if you don't have like the right coaches, or it's obviously something unlucky. So we're lucky he's safe. But yeah, that was the first tournament back pre-pandemic. Mm-hmm. That was in Salt Lake, I think. And yeah, you got top 64 with Mew. You ended up winning Hartford with Mew.
Yep.
We've gone through so many iterations of Mew. We played Mew in LAIC. Mew just won. You switch between Mew and Guardy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the last regional coming up, this deck has been the deck for 2 years. It's actually maybe one of the only decks that's ever had 2 Worlds decks made on it.
Right.
Because Vance Kelly has Mew's Revenge.
And Andre's.
Andre had the shape of Mew.
Yeah.
Okay, England, Ed Sheeran. I think that's why they named it there. Way better name than GoFundMew. We love you, Andre. So is Mew... Actually, he might even go to Vancouver and play Mew. The last one, right? I don't know, but like that would be a great story. Yeah. So, what percentage of you is debating playing Mew?
Like a large percentage, like 50%. 50% Guardy, 50% Mew. I do think the fusion version is the way to go. You're way better into Roaring Moon, which has just continued to see a lot of play. I mean, it was the number 1 deck at Utrecht. I think like 14% meta share. So if you're playing Mew or you wanna come to Vancouver and do the one last ride, definitely go for the fusion angle. I think it's better than DTE right now. What else can I say about Mew? I mean, I like the Ice Cube inclusion. I think it's good against Guardy. You can like snipe their bench.
Yeah, they put down a mana if you're happy.
Yeah. But I do miss the Deoxys. Being able to go like attack with Meloetta and then you attack with Deoxys. And then you can go with 2 VMAXs and like make your opponent take 8 prizes. So if you can play that line, it's definitely super strong. So I'm looking at that for Vancouver. Yeah.
I think one of the big things too with this being the last part of the format, and to the Joes out there, there's a lot of us that have a proponent to only want to play like. If you like decks, you should play the decks that you like, and I know that's a big thing. But I think sometimes it's a leak by like never playing the meta deck. And as I've looked over the regionals that I've had, and I've gotten a lot of like the pity points part, which we'll take those pity points every day. Like I really loved playing Charizard EX Lost Box, and I played that for 3 regionals, right? Maybe I should have just been playing Tina. Mm-hmm. And then even in the current formats, played a lot of Roaring Moon and Entei Valiant. Maybe I should have just been playing Charizard, right? And I think that is something that sometimes you have to take a step back as a player, because when you look at the people that are making day 2 or people at similar skill levels playing these decks that are already very refined and very good, sometimes you just have to be like, sometimes you're just outsmarting yourself. And that's what I like. The last few cups I was playing Charizard Barel. It's actually had quite success in Europe. Shout out to Bali, who was 2nd place. So that's Ollie with a B from the UK. He came 2nd in Swiss at Utrecht with Charizard Barel. And I had given up on Charizard Barel this weekend. They played no Vs. I went and played it for a league challenge. I'm like, one more time. And then I just couldn't find a supporter. And I had all these baby Pokemon. I'm like, man, I need to just put some time in Pidgeot, and Charizard's so strong. So maybe if Mew's can be really good, and then you just have to get lucky against Gardevoir, and take your 50-50 against Tina. From all the videos I've watched on the deck, the mirror does actually seem pretty skill intensive of like where to push your opponent and where to try to go through the game. I think it's like the best Joe deck. I mean, you can say what you want about Roaring Moon.
That's what I was about to say, actually. Is like, Roaring Moon, I think that might be the best Joe deck. Yeah. I see, at our local League Cups, it just sees so much success. And even at these big major tournaments, it just sees so much success. It's so consistent. The strategy it's linear, but it's strong, right?
I mean, you just take a knockout every turn, right?
Exactly.
And sometimes that's what Buzzwole was, right? Mm-hmm. And instead of having a Lycanroc in the deck, they have Pokemon Catcher.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that. I mean, you play Cramomatic, but like, coin flips are just so hard. Pokestops so hard. There's a lot that's not in your control in the deck.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think like maybe we have just not evolved. Like everyone's like, oh, the Ross deck is the best deck. Like let's play this build. This is how we should go. No one's really tried to refine the Greninja version where you can play Water Energy anymore. So maybe there's something there too. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of evolution left in the format, but there is going to be like, I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Palkia Ice Rider water based deck do well if it can dodge like Roaring Moon in the last event, right? Just because there's a lot of these VMAX Pokemon that are rotating and people want to play them. I think Pokemon, compared to some of the other games, is you really get to play cards that you enjoy. So as you go through your last cups and you try to see if you're going to the last regional and go there. Now with Vancouver coming up, this is generally going to be one of the smallest regionals of the year because it's hard for our compatriots in America to fly to. Not many direct flights in the US to Vancouver compared to Toronto. Toronto is very reachable through cars and etc. So we were having a discussion. Do you think the field is going to be tougher because it's a smaller field? Or do you feel that it's going to be more varied?
Honestly, it's hard to say. Canadian players are pretty good. So I would expect there to be a higher concentration of like very solid players, like, you know, like you're like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 level players. I would expect a lot of those. And it's a smaller field, right? So I would expect it to be harder. However, there are less people, which does make it a big opportunity. If you're looking for your Worlds invite, or for me competing for these stipends, it's a huge chance to get a nice CP boost.
I think too is for the Americans that do have a passport that are going to come to this, are going to come to this because they have that ability to come to. So we're going to get a lot of good players. It might be one of the tougher regionals to win. Same thing, Knoxville, I think, was also one of the tougher regionals to win. There was only 1,100 people at that one. The cap was there. So I think it really, you see the cream rise to the crop, especially in top 8. Knoxville's top 8 was very stacked. Last year's top 8 for Vancouver is very stacked. You were in it. Tord was in it. Zach was in it. There's definitely more good players that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it was a very stacked regional top 8, and Knoxville was a very, Antonucci and Coos in the final. Ian Robb was in that, so I think the smaller ones, you'll see those people come in. So if you're going to come, I think this is actually... I don't think this is like the bring a consistent deck.
It depends on what your goal is.
Yeah.
You know,
if you're trying to win the tournament, I think this is like, I want a high roll and crush people.
Definitely a huge opportunity if you consider yourself a Joe. Definitely a huge opportunity to show up with like something weird, something with polarizing matchups. You know, like maybe something like Miraidon, where like you have a couple great matchups, and then like of course Charizard is like bad. Or I'm sure there's other more off the wall decks that have even more polarized matchup spreads. Cloth. Yeah,
Cloth is something we see locally a lot. People love Cloth at the local level.
You beat Miraidon, you beat Moon.
It's your only regional of the year. You've been playing Cloth nonstop. We have local Mateo.
Mateo, he loves the Cloth, eh?
We just have Cloth mirrors at our local, which is intense because I've only ever seen Jesper play the Winnin' with the Cloth mirror. So... That's a big thing going in. And then when we even look at the decks like Roy Moon, Mew, Chen Pao at Utrecht, we would be very behind not to talk about Tord.
Oh my gosh, and his crazy deck, right?
Tord is going through like a series of anime this season.
I don't. He's got this Gardevoir deck. It's like, oh wow, that's a good deck. And then he's like, bang, like a million different cards in Lost Box.
Like his arc of, becoming the villain to Brazilians at NAIC, by playing in a manner that there would be no way for him to lose the game, and like really kind of choking out Pedro's resources to, coming from his top 4 with the Firebox deck at Washington Worlds to making the final Worlds, being the last missing piece that Tord has never won. And, they talk about Tord Time, but Tord Time was against him in the final of Worlds, which led Mew to win and Vance to become a world champion. And Vance is the type of world champion that you want to see. Not that you don't want to see the best people become world champions, but for the Joe, Vance is absolutely the story that you want to see for world one person played the whole deck, the whole season, learned that deck inside out, got a chance at Worlds, and then did the best that they can. That is the best marketing for Pokemon. That is, anyone can become the world champion if you put in the time and you go. And he did have finishes before the year. But that is just that is the type of person that you want to see and go. And then obviously for the best players, you want to see the GOATs win Worlds, right? It would have been really cool to see Andrew Estrada win a second Worlds in London, right? So now we go in. He comes back. We start seeing the Tord Time talks, which we all have our thoughts on, but it is within the parameters of the game. He comes to every regional, and then there's some good regionals, there's some not great regionals. Goes to Brazil, gets DQ'd, unfortunately, and some of the best players in the world have been DQ'd at times in their career,
and a lot of them at LAIC, honestly.
Yeah, or Philadelphia Regionals as a senior.
Yeah.
So
I see.
Yeah,
okay.
And then but you move past and you really see who are like the good players, what not. But now we get to this. Then we get to I'm just gonna play whatever I want because he started playing the Lost Box deck with like everything: Palkia, Tina, Hands,
Kyogre,
Roaring Moon, Kyogre.
Yeah.
And we're just seeing this whole new Tor that is not like going through the meta. Then he played Gardevoir again, and then now this deck literally had a card from every set.
Except it was missing one.
Paldean
Right?
Fates, which is the new set. But I mean, it's a reprint set. There's Pidgeot in that set.
Pidgeot. There you go.
Yeah.
Bang.
So this is the redemption. This is the redemption arc.
Redemption arc.
This is everyone loving Tord again, and I think a lot of people never stop loving Tord. I mean, he is one of the greatest. You can't deny someone that has won all 4 ICs.
Yeah, right. That's an absurd.
That is
accolade, right?
When are we going to see that again? Like, let alone who has won 2. I mean, Azul's won NAIC and OCIC.
Yeah, I think
So like
that's
he could be like the only other one to, and then some of the other people have won 2 or whatnot. Like Stefan has won NAIC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was really exciting to see the deck at the League Cups this weekend. People were just talking about the deck, talking about his matchups. He was on stream a lot. What do you think kind of separates? Because you're very good at tuning established decks.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that you're like a brewer.
No.
Like you're never... Oh, Wheezing though. Wheezing.
Oh, okay, yeah, Wheezing. That was that one was fun. Yeah, but usually you're right. Like I don't usually come up with like fully new ideas. I like to take decks and like make their draw engines better and do that. But seeing Tord like put together such a crazy deck is so cool. And it's like the 3rd time, right? He had that Urshifu deck. People were talking about that on Twitter. And then the Lost Box deck, and now this Charizard deck. And when I looked at this Charizard deck, I was like, I have no idea how he did so well with it. Like it just looks. I can't see the vision. I'm sure there's a vision there. I'm sure he has like a plan for every matchup. Like he's gonna use his 1/1 Urshifu line, and then his Charizard, and then he's gonna Yoga Loop, and I'm sure he's got it all figured out. When I look at it, it just looks like a pile of cards to me. I don't know. What do you think?
One of my biggest things is I tell my juniors, like the best juniors and the best seniors in the world, I'm always like, they could win with a ham sandwich. Mm-hmm. That's like a magic term. Like someone's just so good at magic, they can win with a ham sandwich. There's definitely times in formats where you can win with a ham sandwich, but this is the hammiest of all sandwiches that we've ever seen. Because when I look at this deck, and the Twitter was like, he set up that Yoga Loop turn from forever, right?
Yeah.
So he's just thinking on a level above, and he has transcended Tord time. That now, because he's playing these decks that are just taking knockout after knockout after knockout, that he's just thinking so far into the like future sight. Mm-hmm. He's just.
I mean, yeah, he's the best, honestly, and so to see him succeed with this kind of deck, I guess makes sense because he knows how to put it all together. I saw a couple people go like 0-3 at League Cups with it, so I think this is it's called Tord Pile for a reason. Keep it Tord Pile. Don't go to Vancouver with this deck. Anyone, even I'm not even touching this deck.
And then it wins Vancouver.
Yo, man, that'd be crazy. But no, I don't think so. It's and eventually he lost to Owyn Camerman, and was it on stream?
I don't know if it was on stream.
Okay, anyways, I didn't see it, but I imagine his deck, I don't know, has so many 1-ofs.
I'm assuming the judge ruins the day, right? And as I've been learning Charizard, and I mean, you make some great content on YouTube, I really want to shout out also Gardevoir Enjoyer, also played only one deck, James Cox.
Oh, yes, also makes YouTube content.
Because he made some great videos with John on how to play Giratina, and with Grant on how to play Charizard. And, they're talking about what decks do you go first with Charizard, what decks do you go second with versus Charizard. And Mew, they're like, you actually always want to go second versus Mew no matter what, even though you might want to get the first attack, because you just don't want to give them the first supporter and get judged out of the game, right?
On turn 1, right?
And I remember thinking, too, when I was playing Mew at LAIC, afterwards, it's like, if you just judge some of these Lost Box decks, they literally cannot string cards together. Like putting them on smaller cards, putting thing on places that you can't do that really puts us to a point that we can do great things. And I mean, what if he started Urshifu? You just get the Mew attack. I think he just... Yeah. I don't really think... Okay, Charizard, Pidgeot, obviously it's a great deck. I just think Tord loves Urshifu.
Yeah, maybe, right? This Urshifu plus Dark Pokemon
yeah, like I think that's what the thing is. Everyone's going on. I think he just loves Urshifu and he wanted to do it. And why... Like, that card's very, very strong.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, you can Rapid Flow, you kill 2 guys, and then he's got the Mawile, so if you put down Manaphy, then you get Mawile. So I see some of the vision, like a little bit.
It's just a Tord toolbox where he just pulls out the right tool for the right matchup. And I'm all here for the redemption arc. I'm all here, you know. I would not be surprised, called shot, if he wins a EUIC. Like, if he's at that level right now, thinking this, and I know, you're like, I'm gonna win a EUIC.
No, he could win. He's got the deck building, right? You know, in these new formats, players like Tor Xcel, right? Because I'm sure whatever he has, it'll either be super crazy or super consistent.
He used the first both. 4 Bridget, 4 Lele.
Yep.
He first Zoark, Golisopod, first tournament. He was the one that played it.
EUIC as well, right?
That EUIC, he always comes in for the big one because those are the ones you want to win. Even for yourself, you know, NAIC win or final as a senior.
Finals and seniors.
NAIC finals and seniors, and then NAIC top 4 last year. Like, your hope is just to go to these tournaments and be able to get into top 8 just to give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
And with him firing all cylinders, like, I think in between, he's just been really working on himself.
Yeah.
He's been really working on himself, and now we're seeing this, so good on him. But also, Owyn Camerman. Those, like, that coalition there, like, his brother, Brendan, only played the Lost Box deck, the whole format, right? From going from LAIC, you just saw all that deck, and then these are hit hard decks. Like, these aren't, like, outsmart your opponent decks. We have things that hit very Roaring Moon, Sableye, Charizard. Yeah. They're not, and then Mew hit really hard, Chien-Pao really hit hard, versus a big brain deck like Tord. So you're really seeing that kind of dip and that difference.
I guess that's true. I think those decks, they still take a decent amount of skill. They have like different attacking options. Like when I think of a hit hard deck, like Roaring Moon, like you do one thing, you have a 2-prizer, does a bunch of damage. Like C-Pal, like you got some 1-prizers going on, like Lost Box, you got a couple guys that you can attack with, some 1-prize options. So I think there's a little bit of thinking going on behind those decks.
Yeah, you just lost on your Battle VIP passes after turn 1.
Yeah, that's good, right? But definitely not on the Tord Box level. No. That's like brain expanding levels of, I don't know, gameplay.
Yeah, so do you play any cups this past weekend?
Yeah, I played a couple cups. I played Gardevoir to a cup. I tweeted about it, actually. I prized my Mirage Step, and it was even worse than that. But the gist was that I prized my Mirage Step and got run over round 1, and then did the same thing in round 2. And that was a poor experience. So I'm definitely kind of low on Gardevoir, definitely kind of pushing me towards Mew.
I got some great... we can look up your tweets, but I got some great tweets about Gardevoir this weekend. So, today at my League Cup...
Who's saying this?
Today at my League Cup, I experienced the other very ugly side of Gardevoir. Not getting to play Pokemon almost the entire day, tilted, crying, laughing face. Okay, also on the same day. First match at League Cup playing Guardy. Got turn 1 hands decimated. Lamau.
I feel that. I feel that one. That's, yeah.
But they didn't play Guardy on Friday night at the GameGrid standard number 2 tournament.
Yeah.
Shout out GameGrid Live for running the event, broken list, underrated deck, and good practice before Vancouver Regionals with Miraidon. So I think, he... oh my gosh. He actually got ratioed because he was talking about Guardy. So let me tell you this.
Okay, yeah.
Guardy, according to Smart TCG, okay, Tina favored. Lost Zone Box, favored. Chien-Pao, bracket. Horrible deck, bracket. Moon, free. Actually, Moon matchup's horrendous. Stall, favored.
Yeah, that's true.
Zard, favored.
Yeah, that's true.
Mew, favored.
That's true.
Miraidon, caps. Lumphao Sheep in 2024.
Yo, he's a sheep, bro. He's playing Miraidon at
And
the
then
GameGrid
Entei
event.
So one thing that we just want to reiterate on the Experience Share podcast is we do not meta manipulate.
No meta manipulation.
No meta
here.
manipulation. Because we would never tweet Miraidon Lumphao Sheep in 2024 and then win a tournament with it. But
No.
hey, he's a great player. He can play any deck.
Yep.
And you've been losing to Miraidon.
I've
in
been
cups
losing
as
a
well.
lot. I've been getting smoked. You know, Miraidon in CPAL, Iron Hands in CPAL, Iron Hands Miraidon. Not fun to get Iron Hands. And you see, like, in the GameGrid tournament, it's been a Guardy Tina meta. It was, like, 2 weeks ago, again this week. So, like, when the meta's all Guardy and, like, Lost Box decks, you know, you have a good time. You got the Mew to kill Tinas. And then Iron Hands, of course, kills all the one prizers. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see this deck like do very well in Vancouver in the current meta.
And Miraidon's actually one of my when I ever saw Miraidon flipped over at LAIC and I was playing Mew, I was excited.
Oh yeah,
like that's got to
Great
be
matchup.
just power tablet KO. Like
Knockout.
that's one of the best decks to go up against it. So it's almost like a triangle because the way I think the meta is going to evolve is this is the last. Let's talk about the last rides for these decks. This is the last iteration of being able to play Gardevoir with Shining Arcana. Mew VMAX, we talked last time about that. Urshifu, last time about that. People are just going to play their Charizard. People are still going to play Guardy. So, I would not be surprised. People love Urshifu. People have full arts for that deck. People are going to think to play that. That's the last time for that deck. And I really can't think of any other, big decks that have done that this is really the last time for them.
Yeah, I think you got them all.
So what do you think of kind of that shaping the meta? So Moon, and people are going to play the deck they've been playing this whole season too because it's what they know. If this is the only regional for those Vancouver locals or West Coast locals, then they're just going to be playing what they played all season. Oh, Arceus, a lot of them.
No, yeah. Arceus is still going.
Arceus will still be going, but certain forms of Arceus or whatnot. So, what are you thinking in general?
I think this idea of a last ride is a little overdone. I think people will continue to play what they've been playing for the past few tournaments. So I wouldn't expect a high Mew play. I don't think all the Mew enjoyers of the past are going to come back to Mew now. I think Vance Kelly, if he goes, he'll be playing Mew for sure. Or anyone else who's been playing Mew this whole time. But I don't expect a big return to the past. People will continue to play their Charizard, their Roaring Moon. Especially a lot of players going to EUIC are probably not spending a ton of time either trying to shift decks or come up with something cool or innovative for Vancouver. They're probably focused on spending their time. Either maybe they got to work now so that they can spend time on Pokemon later, or they're just already looking at EUIC. So I'm just expecting a lot of the same meta. It's going to be just the Tina, Guardy, number 1, number 2, and then Zard, Moon, number 3, number 4. Kind of. I don't think anything crazy is going to happen. There's not going to be a big spike in Mew or a big spike in Urshifu. At least I don't think so.
Whether it's the first time or the 7th time you bought this podcast, or it's going to be the last time you play that deck, we want to shout out our sponsor, Game Time Collectibles in Mississauga. Use code use code on itsgametime.ca, Coach Mark for 5% off your orders.
And just like we always have time for game time, we also always have time for charity. So this weekend, Saturday, March 9th at noon, check out the Nerds Raid Gaming Lost Kitchen team match. They're fundraising for Chicago food banks, and they're giving away a ton of cool prizes, as well as playing a ton of different formats, ton of different players, ton of great personalities, and it's for a great cause. So if you're not doing anything this Saturday, March 9th, be sure to check out the stream at twitch.tv/NRG store.
And with talking about tournaments, I know we've been talking about stuff, and Game Time always lends out to GameGrid, which is a big friend of the channel as well. Yes. Great tournaments. Shout out Joe. Shout out his biceps and his leg days. He's probably listening to it right now as he's doing some squats. Actually, can he bench more than you? You think?
I don't know, but definitely.
Yeah, you definitely think he's benching more than you?
Yeah, I wouldn't try to bench check. Yeah, Joe. No, that's not gonna work.
If you can just comment on Twitter.
Yeah, like what's your bench? I'd love to know.
We'd love to know, just so that we can set goals for Rowan as he continues. He benches more than Ian Robb. He can't beat Ian Robb, so we'll throw that back out there. The GameGrid tournament won by Gabe on Miraidon. Mm-hmm. What do you think that's gonna be a real indicative? Because the people, they get to play in a free tournament where you get a box. They're gonna bring their best. You're gonna try to win the tournament. No one's playing fake decks on that. So how was the meta on that?
Yeah. The meta followed kind of what I just said. It's like the Tina Guardy 1-2. I have it written down here. Tina and Guardy were both 12 to 14%, and then Zard and Moon were kind of 10 to 8. So it's pretty standard meta. I think Miraidon winning is very indicative of what Vancouver could look like, which makes me very scared as a Guardy player. I think people are kind of realizing how good Miraidon is right now. I'm not surprised. And I like Gabe's list as well. He's now including Pokemon catchers in his deck, which I think gives the deck a much needed boost on turn 1. To if you can't get to hands, or you're playing against Tina, they only have one Tina. Now you can donk their only Tina with Miraidon, and that's really good. Also in the late game, you can peony for a double Pokemon catcher, right? So then, you couldn't peony for boss and boss, obviously, but now your peonies become 75% chance boss, right? So I think that's a really cool innovation as well.
You get 2 catchers.
Yeah, right. You get 2 catchers. Yeah, you flip 2 coins.
Can you mathematician me on that explanation so other people can understand?
Yes. Okay. So you flip the first catcher, and it's a 50% chance, right? So now it's like a probability tree. So you're gonna go on the tails tree, and now you have another 50% chance to flip tails again. So it's a 50% on the first tails times the 50% on the second tails, which is a 25% chance of double tails.
Okay, but if I have 3 doors in front of me.
Yes.
And then
you switch doors. You switch doors every time.
Okay.
Every time.
I'll make sure to switch doors. I don't want to get the goat. I want to get the prize.
Yes, you want the car, bro. You got to switch doors.
Okay. So we think the meta is going to stay the same. One thing that just came to mind that I think is really important, and I'd like to hear your things, because you are a grinder, you want to win tournaments, you want to win tournament prize money. Speaking of prizes and great prizes, do you think an SPE not awarding cash prizing makes people choose different decks? Or do you think because of the way Europe is and their great player base, that people want to win it for the accolades anyway, because there were great people in that top 8? So I just want to hear what your, if you were just going to SPE, are you trying to win it for the accolades anyway, or are you trying to prove something with a deck choice?
It's hard. I don't have the same mindset as most players. I think for many top players, I would consider an SPE win less than a regional win. I think without the cash prizing, generally people aren't trying as hard. Honestly, I think the fact that it's an SPE contributed to Tor's deck. I think if it's a regional, I don't think he's busting out that crazy. Maybe he is, but I think that definitely helped him just send it with his weird deck. But I do think that it's a huge opportunity for players to get points. So I think those worlds invite players, the 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 players, are taking it very seriously. So I think it's definitely not an easy tournament. There's definitely people trying very hard. I would say generally the middle of the field is trying very hard, and then the top of the field is maybe not trying as hard. That's what I would say.
But what if you go into that they have a top 22 race versus a top 16 race?
I guess that's true, right? Yeah, so some of those top players could mean
closer to $5,000, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So maybe everyone's just taking it just as seriously. There's still stakes. There's still money to be played for those top players, even if it's not in the form of the tournament winnings, but in the stipend. So maybe you're right, actually. Maybe this is still...
because if you had a chance, that would lock you up top 4.
Yeah, if there was an Ontario SPE and I was going, I would definitely be playing Guardy and trying as hard as I could to win the event.
So Guardy, not Mew.
Guardy, not Mew. Yeah, probably Guardy, not Mew. Yeah, I don't know.
I just what's her name, Billy Alpha or whatever, the female podcaster that was with Drake that just asked all the hard question. You just Guardy, not
Guardian,
Mew.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just really nailed that one. Yeah, I guess I'm not so unsure. I guess if I was playing like Vancouver tomorrow, it would still be Guardy. Yeah, I guess that is kind of where I'm at.
I think that's something the players should ask themselves too. Is like, hey, if the tournament's tomorrow, what am I playing, and what are you defaulting to in the last minute? So I think that's a good way to look at it, and it just kind of puts back into your heart, like, hey, that's a good way to think. Even on the top players, if you flip a coin, I always, back in the day when I hadn't been with my fiance of 12 years, they would always say that if you had to choose between two people, like flip a coin, and by the time the coin's in the air, like which
What
one's
you're
more
hoping
important for you.
right?
So I think that is what it is for the deck. And I know as a 20-year-old, you don't really have to deal with those problems. Maybe 27-year-olds do. So with the tournaments going on, we see where the meta's going. We've been playing, some of the new format. We've been testing some of the decks. We've seen great players go. It's actually crazy that the season's like so close to that finish line.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where it went.
Because I feel like it was just yesterday that we were going to Pittsburgh, and you were sick in Pittsburgh again.
Yeah, that was not as bad as the concussion. The concussion beats out, even though I threw up after round 1 in Pittsburgh. Yeah, concussions was worse for sure.
Like, I think that just goes to show how much you love playing Pokemon. I just want to play more. Please, Pokemon, please just open EUIC Wave 3. Just please, I just want to play Pokemon. I will take a round 1 bye.
Like a loss?
Huh?
A loss?
Sorry, a round 1 loss. I'll
Okay.
take a round 1 loss. You know what? I will actually say right here, right now, that if I get into EUIC, that my round 1 opponent, I will straight concede. I will straight concede just to be able to play in that tournament. I'll straight concede to I'll get to the table and I will be, you know what? This is, I got to pay it forward. I trusted in God. He got me into the tournament. Like, good luck on your tournament.
Yo, I'm trying to hit you round 1.
Yeah, I just, you can cap this, please. And we were talking earlier too. So Magic Pro Tours, which are the equivalent of the ICs, but you have to qualify them for them. So they're a lot smaller. But on day 2 of all the Pro Tours, because the first day is on a Friday like an IC, they run a Grand Prix, which is basically what a regional is. And with Pokemon and more people playing, and hey, head office, you don't got to pay me for this, okay? This is free advice. This is, pro bono. Mm-hmm. I think we should run SPEs or like opens on the second day of those events, because if you get knocked out of day 1 at EUIC or any IC, you just want to play more Pokemon.
Yeah, you do.
That's something that's not a League Cup.
I mean, we already see like these league cups at these events.
100-person league
100
cups,
people,
right?
200 people league cups, and they're playing for like 50 CP.
Yeah,
this 200 player event, like
give us a 1,200 person like SPE.
Yeah.
We'll pay £25. We'll pay $50 US, and people will pay it. Like, we know people
will pay more. It could be way more.
People will pay it, and like, just give everyone 3 packs at the start, right? And I think that's what opens were, and we just want to play more Pokemon, so I think that would be really good for people, because it's kind of like a second chance tournament, and there is still people that are going to try, because as we just talked about, the stipend race and stuff.
Yeah.
So those are some things that I'd like to see, and some things about like Magic that go into Pokemon too is etiquette. And I know we've been talking about Tord in this tournament, and there was the clip of, and I'm assuming that he's played against Alessandro a lot, because that's also another European name, and he's pretty chummy with a lot of European players. So, I understand where some of the Japanese players that brought it up would think that it is, the etiquette is bad, but it's also different when you know people.
Yeah.
So when it comes to etiquette in card games, what are some of your biggest pet peeves?
Oh, my biggest pet peeves. Okay, not a lot bothers me, actually. I'm usually pretty okay. Okay, the thing that bothers me, and I don't know, this might sound kind of dumb, but when I like shuffle my deck like really thoroughly, I feel like I shuffled it really well, and then my opponent takes it and does like 7 riffles, I'm like a little offended. I'm like, bro, do you really think I'm cheating? Like, come on, that was like the best shuffle of my life. That's probably one of them.
Well, maybe it's because like you just win so much. Actually, it is because you do not see it in Magic the Gathering. When I shuffle my opponent's deck, And when I shuffle my opponent's deck, I'm looking away, right? That's just something you learn in Magic. You're shuffling like this, with your face away, and then they cut their deck, and then I think they're sketchy.
Yeah,
I'm like, I just shuffled your deck. Why are you cutting your deck? I think that's pretty sketchy. And then, okay, etiquette.
What else? Do you have pet peeves? I feel like there's definitely more.
Okay, just because I'm old, you don't have to throw that out. That I would be better and have more pet peeves. But when a game of Pokemon is completed, and this is something I learned from Magic.
Oh, that's a good one.
The loser extends hand first, right? Because I think it is when someone loses like a huge match or it's for something, like you're in your head, and I think it's better to like wait till you guys pack up or whatnot, and then offer a handshake there, just so that you kind of let off the energy from the game win, because. And I think it's from, if you've started from juniors and going up, it's so easy when you're a junior and you're like, bam, 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 this card, boss, here's my hand, shake my hand, I won the game, right? But as you get older and you get more mature and you're spending thousands to travel the circuit and you're thinking to yourself, hey, this is what happened, I just lost this match, and someone just top deck boss after you Iono'd them and you're like, Iono's a lie, and then they're shoving their hand in your face for a handshake. I will, for the most part, a lot of times shake their hand. I know Muhammad would be like, yo, you don't do that to me, but I'm like, because he's shoving his hand in my face at the league after he like donks me. Those are the times that I'm like, I'm like, hey, I'm actually like sorry that that I donked you or we didn't play a game or whatnot when it goes through. So I really do think it should be kind of on the loser. To do it, and then, or even after, just being like, say thanks for the games, because it's such a quick reflex to say good game, but like if you donk somebody,
like sometimes it's actually not a good game.
It's not a good game.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think like it also, like if you win and you instantly shove your hand in your opponent's face, it like kind of denies them the opportunity to be like a gracious loser, and like I feel like it's
like I think that's one really good thing about Pokemon that you see. So you don't see it in Magic. So in Magic, you'll see Game 3, the handshake come through for the win, right? Like the person's losing, they'll send a handshake, they'll be like, congratulations. And I've actually done my best to do that every time I've lost my win in. I've always been like, congratulations, like good luck in day 2. But I like in Pokemon is the fist bumps in between games. Yeah. And I know that it's tough sometimes, like when you're on stream with Grand Chen and you guys are just fist bumping and fist bump. The fist bump, like I think that's really cool that every game you're like, hey, I have been defeated. Yeah. Let us go to the next game. So I think those are certain things. I think it's tough too in Pokemon because there's so much tutoring / searching. So the etiquette of like trying to do all your searches at the same time and being going to your opponent as well. I don't think I have anything other than that. I think our community has been really good. This year has been good.
Actually, I have one more. When my opponent like shuffles and instead like they put their deck back like where their deck goes instead of like kind of like passing it to me a bit.
Oh, so you have to reach over.
Yeah, so I have to like reach. Like they're not like offering. They're not like, hey, would you like to cut? They just like put their deck down. It's like, oh my gosh, and then like you gotta.
And then you're like, I'm absolutely gonna cut.
Yeah, you're like, okay, now I'm absolutely cutting. Yeah, that one. That's
or they do the quick. I think I had a situation with a player once who like mentally broke me down in the game because I had to make sure that I watched him was actually masterclass in mental manipulation in a game and make sense because they're world champion. But
a world champion.
They were playing Granbull.
Okay.
Very, very good. They're from Burlington.
Oh.
And I had a game. I got a free game win because they had their deck list wrong, and they're just so smooth with their hands. And I was like, "Hey, are you going back in your deck?" And they were like, let me think about it. And then they were like, Instruct. I was like, whoa, I didn't get the cut. But like, I think it was just in the game. There's so much thinking. I think that's what's hard sometimes is a lot of these decks now, you're chaining and you're comboing your Arcana, you're comboing your Quick Search. So it's hard to go in through. So I think just trying to be really honest with your opponent and do all things at the same time. Because I know I was doing that with Bibsard. I would Arvin. I'd get like the Pokemon for VIP. I'd get like the Pokemon that are going to evolve from the evolution and then just try to do it in one swoop and then be like, hey, like your turn, let me search through. Because these games are taking long.
Oh yeah, people are dying, right? So.
Yeah. And looking into new format as well, like I think the games are going to take long because there's a lot less like power cards. There's going to be a lot more one prizers that you have to attack. You got Mill, where you're going to have to like knock out a bunch of one prizers. Control, there's a lot of one prizers. Charizard Bib, there's more one prizers. Chen Pao, like they're using the Kyogre now. So there's a lot of these decks, and then there's the Ancient Box that's has a lot of one prizers.
Yeah.
So I think and Lost Box is still in there. So the formats are going to get slow. So learning how to play fast is very important. So we'll see that. And you've been playing new format. What decks have you liked so far?
I mean, honestly, it's kind of boring, but Bibzard is just like the best deck. Like the ability to not have two prize Pokemon in play. Like sometimes in the middle of the game, you can like find cool boards where like you attack with Radzard. And like have no two prizer, and then your opponent can't win, or even like attacking with Charmeleon can be good sometimes. The draw power is incredible. You have Prime Catcher to like boss and Iono in the same turn.
You're on a Prime Catcher over Maximum Belt. Maximum Belt's very good.
It is good. But it doesn't work on Vs, which I think is kind of huge. Like to be able to kill like Lugia V or Arceus V would be huge.
No, I didn't cheat. I thought I was cheating in coaching with Maximum Belt, but they were Iron Hands. I was killing Iron Hands.
Yeah. So yeah, like killing those EXs is great. Also, some of the EXs have 240. Like I think Gouging Fire is 240. Is that right?
I think it's 260.
Huh?
It's 260.
Oh, okay. Dang. Okay. Raging Bolt definitely 240. So like there's some relevant EXs, but yeah, Prime Catcher. Also, I can never remember the name of this card. The hacker Cyber Mallow, yeah, Cybernetic Maniac.
They actually called out that they announced the actual name of that card today.
Oh, they did? What is it?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now.
Whatever, but yeah, being able to like Mallow for Prime Catcher, super good, and you can just like bib into it.
It is not any of the translation names.
It's not?
It's Cipher Maniacs Code Breaking.
Cipher. Man.
So I'm just going to call it Mallow.
Yeah, I'm going to call it Mallow, too. That's a bad name.
I've been calling Explorer's Guidance Hapu this whole time, too.
Hapu, yeah, that's a Hapu.
And when you're coaching, like, juniors and seniors that weren't around for that, I'm like, oh, you're a Hapu. They're like, what? Like, you're Mallow. I'm like, guys, it's like one word. It's so much easier. But I think those add a lot more to the format. And the decks already, as you go into this format, are so wide. Like, Lugia, Trap? Yes, Trap?
Not a Trap. Not great. Like it's like kind of inconsistent. When you set up, deck's great. I think the deck's good. Be real deck. Also, I think I need to start looking at these Lost Box decks more. I've been hearing a couple people talk about them, but I haven't played them at all because like I don't really like Comfy. But I think those decks are probably good. Like Lost Tina, especially, probably pretty good. You got the new U-turn board or emergency board.
Dawn Fan real deck? Not Dawn
Great
Fan.
Tusk.
Great Tusk Mill?
I think it's a real deck. I think.
You think Patrol Cap's
I'm still working on it. No, it's not a card. Nah.
Okay. Chen Pao.
Yeah, it's real. It's definitely weak. Like it doesn't feel incredible, but the loss of Cross Switcher is actually kind of huge. But like good deck.
Goldingo?
I actually don't know. I haven't played any games with that. It's like probably real. I mean, again, losing Cross Switcher probably hurts a lot for that deck. So I would say probably not good. I can't see it beating Zard.
Crown Hands?
Oh, bad. I played games with Crown Hands. The deck is not real. Like
I think the deck is very real.
No,
I think it's like, very real.
There's no draw engine.
You get a hit for 220. You have Gift Energy.
I know, but like they just don't kill it. They just kill something else, and it's like
you hit for like 220. You kill a lot of things. The Miraidon is really good.
It's good. Okay, but trust me, it loses to Charizard. Like it loses to Charizard.
So
do you want to run through a game?
I think if they play 3 Research, 3 Iono.
Yeah, you have 6 draw supporters in your whole deck, and no, you don't have Squawk, you don't have Luminia.
I think it absolutely
nothing.
I think these decks need Pokegear.
Yeah, that'd be good. But
I'd be willing. I think there's gonna be some in day 2 of EUIC.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be some, but
the other card I don't understand why it's good, and you can enlighten me, is Fluttermane. Because it's only your opponent's active Pokemon that has no abilities.
It just like hates on Lost Box, basically.
So it stops your Comfy.
Stops Comfy, which is like pretty huge. But
we had Empoleon for a whole format.
I know.
And that did nothing.
And does the Fluttermane have 1 retreat? I think it does, which makes it like kind of better.
Yeah. Espartha.
Oh my gosh, like fake. Like so fake.
It's out
so
there.
Fake.
It's winning.
I don't even know what the card does. Like I kind of have a vague idea.
It's
but
30 per energy on both Pokemon.
Yeah, and then it makes them need 1 more, right?
Need 1 more. And if you have a headquarters, just 2 more.
I'll evolve into Charizard, attach 3 fire energies, and I'll one-shot you.
Arctina.
Yeah, that deck's good. Deck's very good. You have good ways to kill Charizards. That's basically my criteria for when you're asking me, is this deck good? I'm just like, can you ever beat Charizard? Because a lot of these decks just like don't beat Charizard, and it's just like, okay, your deck's just automatically bad.
Gardevoir.
It's just like bad. Like just doesn't beat Charizard.
You're not even gonna try.
I'm trying, but like so far bad.
Okay, and then Snorlax.
Definitely good. Yeah, definitely good.
Mantine and Snorlax.
Necessary, because if you don't have it, your opponent can just like discard all the guys and you can't win.
With Control, and we've seen it now at Utrecht, and I think Control in Japan has been doing really well in their best of 1 format. So if Control is doing well in a best of 1 format, it's going to be a real deck. Would you be teching for Control going into EUIC?
That's a great question. No, I don't think so. I do think Control will be good. And there's like a couple things I'm thinking about, and I'm sure other players probably have other ideas, and there's a lot to work with. Eerie is like an insane card. That's one that I'm really liking.
Thoughtseize.
Yeah,
really
Thoughtseize,
good.
double Thoughtseize, right? And like most of the important cards are items like switches, super rods,
Poffin.
prime catcher.
But you're not.
You don't really
but
care
you're
about
not
the
playing.
Poffin.
You're getting it. Oh, vacuum.
You're looking for resources. Yeah, vacuum. That's a good one to get rid
Vacuum
of.
is going to be a really, really big one because I don't think people realize how good Hero's Cape is.
Yeah, and like people are like, oh, like Path's gone, I don't need vacuums. There's like so many good tools, like vacuum. Like probably play a vacuum in your deck.
At least one.
Yeah, at least one, maybe 2 even. I don't know. But yeah, in your Charizard deck, there should be a vacuum for sure.
Yeah, and I see a lot of the Charizard decks going down to like 1 or 2 stadiums, obviously because Path's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good because you can play Poffin at any time.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Just the 1 stadium, 1 vacuum, maybe 2 vacuum. I think one stadium, 1 vacuum is where I'm at. Yeah. Oh, the other reason, Control will be good, but the reason I wouldn't like tech for it is because it'll still be like 5% meta share, right? Like most people won't play Control. There's not like a Control list online that you can go in net deck, so you have to have put a considerable amount of time into it yourself. And it'll probably be some kind of complex deck, like some kind of like Sander looking pile with a bunch of different Pokemon. So I wouldn't tech for it, especially like if your goal is to like win the tournament, your deck probably wants to be Control. But I think you can easily put together like a top 64 run and never even see a Control beside you.
I think it's really good to like look at the deck you're playing right now and see if it translates into the new meta, and then just switch to that deck for your first few tournaments because you already have some reps and some muscle memory with the deck. So like if you play Lugia, you love Lugia, give Lugia a try. If you're playing Goldango, if you're playing Roaring Moon, if you're playing Charizard, like Charizard's going to be one of the big ones. Like a lot of the things are going to carry over, and you want to take a lot of that learning. So everyone's going to be playing like new funky decks, but you just want to play something consistent at the start of the format.
Exactly, especially like when we go into this tournament, you're probably going to play a couple rounds where you don't know what's in your opponent's deck. Like they're going to flip over a Raging Bolt, and you're going to be like, ooh, like what do they do? What's going on with this Raging Bolt deck?
Gets knocked out by Charizard.
It does. Wait,
Yeah.
No. Oh, but if you take 2 prizes.
Yeah, they're going to take 2 prizes.
Yeah, okay.
And then you go after their Sandy Shocks.
Yeah, but like, what if they're not? What if they're playing Gardevoir Raging Bolt? Right? Who knows? You don't. So at the start, there's my point, right? You don't know what's in their deck.
Yeah.
And then once you do know what's in their deck, like you might not know what to do against it.
Capsule's also a big card too, right?
Right.
Because Radiant Zard, you need to vacuum the capsule to be able to knock out things with Radiant Zard. So I think Capsule's going to be a big card too. And then Future Booster in
Also
the
good.
hands deck, like very good. So
And
there's
the
going to be a lot of
baton,
knockouts.
right? The baton, that's a
the
great
baton is
tool.
so good.
Yeah, that's all about all the good tools. But
Okay, well, we're going to do something different here. Rowan actually doesn't look at Pokemon cards, so he's actually going to be seeing a lot of these cards for the first time.
yeah,
So we're going to go over what cards are good or bad. So, like, if they're actually good, if they're not good. Some of these, like, the Scyther, Pine Coast, Seedot in the new set, these aren't going to do anything great. So we're going to start with this first one, Shrifty. Okay?
Wait, hold on. Did you switch the scene?
I did.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yep. So Shrifty, it's a stage 2. Okay? And like Shrifty, they've always tried to like make busted. But for one grass, choose 3 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Your opponent shuffles any others, and all cards attached to them into their deck.
This is like the biggest trap I've ever seen. This like it's a stage 2, and it doesn't do any damage. If this was an ability, it would be very good.
And if it was like you actually get to choose which Pokemon go in, like if you got to put 3 Pokemon back in,
your opponent shuffles any others, and all good.
So they have to have. So if they have 4 Pokemon, they shuffle 1 back in.
Yeah, so it's like kind of, and then they can play play around it. Yeah, no, not good. We don't like this card.
These Roselia, Roserade, they all have, if this gets hit by an attack, the Pokemon's poison, but their attacks aren't great.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So I've seen these Torterras.
So there's that Torterra that does damage like 50 times. That's the one prizer. It now gets this Torterra EX. So it does, for 1 grass, up to 150, 30 times the amount of Pokemon you have in play. So 180 for 1 grass. And then it does for grass, colorless 150, but then you heal 50 from it. So it's just a very tank Pokemon. But 1 grass for 180.
I don't think that's good. Like, imagine running a... Oh, okay, wait, never mind. I was going to say imagine running a Torterra into a Charizard, but that's grass week.
Yeah, and you will be knocking out a Charizard.
Okay, imagine running your Torterra into a Radiant Charizard, though. That's a feels bad.
It's going to happen. Shaman, I actually thought this card is being slept on. So 60 damage to one of your opponent's benched EX or V.
It's just not enough damage.
Just close the game out, though. And it's free retreat.
Okay, I mean, if it has free retreat, like maybe it'll see some play randomly, but mostly just because of the free retreat.
Remember, you can get all your cards from GameGrid.
Yes, GameGridSLC.com.
So these alt arts actually look so good. You won't see it. This lets you just search your deck for Stadium. I don't think it's any good.
That'd be good. Like if Path was still a thing, you could like bump Path, but like now it's kind of who cares.
Remember Viridian Forest? Like every deck played Viridian Forest.
Yeah, that card was great.
For each prize card your opponent's taking gets 50 HP.
All right, this card's gotta be kind of real in control. I didn't know this card existed actually. So if they've taken 5, you have 250. Oh, that's 350. That's a lot of HP. And then you can like, can you go infinite somehow with this? Like Cheryl
gets knocked out by Radiant Zard.
It does get knocked out by Radiant, but you're not going to take any. Doesn't matter. They can just put 5.
Oh, that's true. No, but that would take a lot. Yeah.
You're not taking any prizes, so they need 5 energies.
And they can't attack like every turn if you just have a bunch of these.
This is like interesting. This is interesting.
Okay, Brambleghast, people.
Brambleghast. The hidden attack.
This card actually looks really good. I don't know what it's going to go in, but I think Skull Villain EX, 260 HP, evolves from, I think, Kappa's Kid or whatever that Pokemon's called. 1 colorless, Spicy Bind. Your opponent's active Pokemon's now burned, and it can't retreat, so you can lock, like Mawile, and it'll actually get damaged. And then Grass, 2 Face Crash, 140. Discard a random card from your opponent's hand and discard the top card of their deck.
I don't see the vision. I think like the Mawile part is good, but you burn them, which is actually bad
because eventually they'll die.
Eventually they die, and then the second attack is like kind of this weird mix of damage and disruption, which like just doesn't.
I guess you know why? It's because we don't have an Ace Trainer, right? I guess if we had like the Marnie, like to discard the 1.
I think like if you wanted to go for like the discard cards angle, like Arbok. Like Roxanne Arbok.
Is Arbok 2? Or is it?
Yeah, it's 2. It's 2, but they get to pick.
Okay.
So like imagine going like Roxanne Arbok. That sounds good to me. That sounds better than this.
This card I think will absolutely get played. Rella and Rapska.
Yeah.
So why would you decide over these two versus Jirachi and Manaphy versus an evolution line?
Okay, so obviously the issue with the evolution line is that you can't get it online instantly. So if you're trying to protect yourself from like a turn 2 Greninja, this would not help. But if you are more concerned about like Sableye, this is good because like Sableye, you're not getting Sableye turn 1, you're not really getting Sableye turn 2, so you have time to evolve into Rabska to protect yourself from Sableye. So I think we have to kind of see how popular Ninja is.
Those Pokemon can also be found by Nest Ball, while Rabska cannot be found by Nest Ball.
Yes. And if you whiff your, what's the little one called? Or if you whiff your Relor on turn 1, you can't get your Rabsca on turn 2. So, but then obviously, of course, the upside is you only take up 1 bench spot. So if you have like a bench-intensive strategy, this could be pretty good. Avery rotates though, so maybe you're not as worried about that.
Also, TM Evolution.
Yeah, you can TM this thing out.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe in like your Zard deck you could play this.
Because remember, they were playing in Bibzard, they were playing the Toad Scroll, so this could also just replace that.
What does that attack do? Hold on, can you scroll? Yeah, 10. Okay, like it can kind of attack, sort
That's not bad.
if you played Grass Energies for some reason.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I mean,
Of
you could
course.
play it in thing. Is this card good?
Yeah, of course. This card's very good. I mean, when Charizard is like the number 1 card in the game, a Pokemon that just like comes into the active, like this ability, there are so many words in this ability that just make it even better. Like, like we see different versions of this, like kind of like move energy or like switch
when it
to the
comes
active.
in, like Weird Ear.
Yeah, this one does everything. Like it comes in
And it
comes
goes
to
to
the
your active, and it gains the energy.
and it moves any energies of any type. This card's great.
It's
Just
basically
kills
Chris
it.
Venier. Because the
Chris
translation, the attack is Rapid Vernier, but like Chris Venier, like that guy just does whatever you want in Pokemon. Like he's just so consistent. So this is him as a Pokemon. But what if you don't have the energy on board? Like I think that's my worry, because it's grass colorless. So your decks that play this, so anything with Tina can play this deck. But other than that, there's not much more that can put this in.
Yeah, I mean, if you have grass energies in your deck, then you play this card. If you don't, then you don't play this card.
You can also Mirage Gate onto
You can
it.
Mirage Gate, yeah, with like a Lost Box deck. That sounds kind of good too. Not as relevant because you could just like Mirage Gate onto the leaves itself at that point. But
Yeah.
with Arceus decks, it's cool because you can like spread out all your grass energies, and then they can't kill
so
them
they can't
all,
KO it out.
and then you can Iron Leaves them.
Yeah, he's gonna leave the game. Whenever your opponent's active Pokemon is benched, they're burned, not really. This card, okay, Victini, 1 energy, flip the flap, shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 6 cards.
Too slow. This is good in pre-release. That's about it.
Incineroar EX. Fire, colorless. Blaze Bomb,
But
240 damage.
cost 1 less for each of their bench Pokemon.
Yes.
I like this card, especially
Against Charizard.
especially because I think there's like a Torcat or a Litten that does 20 damage for each damage counter on it. So you can like Relicanth, and then your guy's 320 HP. So like hopefully you don't get one shot, and then you can use that other attack, whichever one it is. I don't know what it is. I'll put it on the screen right here for the viewers. But
We haven't even gotten a Relicanth. You just learned about Relicanth today.
yeah. Relicanth, I know. Relicanth's busted, bro.
So I didn't have this on my buy list, but you think that this could possibly get as a stage 2? I guess a lot of decks like fill up their bench too, right?
Yeah, like this is definitely attacking for like 2 fires max. But the problem is like setting it up. Like I don't know. This might be one of those cards that like looks good, but in reality, it's hard to set up and like just not worth it.
We just need a Kiawe.
Kiawe onto
We haven't had a Kiawe in a while. Turnator. We haven't had a good Turnator in a while either. This deck does 40 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for 2 energy. I think it was 60
horrible.
damage. Maybe if it was 60 damage.
Yeah, maybe 70 for some basics.
Sent this go. Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. It is 230 HP. I was wrong.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was
260. I was
260.
like, yo, what? It does 260 damage. I guess maybe that's what you're
Yeah, that's
thinking.
what I was. I think this card is great.
Oh, the number one thing I'm looking at for this card, this kills an Alolan Vulpix, which otherwise Zard cannot really do. So I think it'll see some play to do that.
It sucks with a maximum belt. It can't like one shot at Zard, but I think that would just make it like
that
very
would make it,
powerful,
yeah, very, very good.
right? Because it just gets returned by the Zard if you take a Zard prize knockout. It's the three energy is a lot of energy though, right? Because
It is, and like your energies don't go on your Zard.
Entei at least is only 2 energy. I mean, you're not doing 260, but you can do up to 220. But this is always 2. This knocks out a V Pokemon every time though.
It does. Or any of these new EXs that sometimes have 240 HP, you kill all of them. So that's good.
It would be really cool if it was like Shred, so that you can KO a Mimikyu as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
So, all right, this is these are kind of my favorite arts.
Yeah, I like this Totodile art.
And the Crocodile,
Yeah.
the Feraligatr ability, so 180 HP, Ability Torrential Heart. Once during your turn, you can put 5 damage counters on this Pokemon. If you do, attacks used by this Pokemon do 120 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon during this turn. And then it's Water 160. So it's doing 280 for 2 waters.
All right. I think this is a trap. Usually these like stage 2 one prizers, they look super good, but in reality, like when you set up a stage 2 and it gets one shot, like guaranteed, it's really hard to set up like a constant stream of stage 2s that only multiple attachments. The one thing I was looking at though
Baxcalibur
is, dude, you're gonna have a Feraligatr and a Baxcalibur. Like, I don't know. But what I do like the case, you can use Relicanth, and then you can use Croconaw. Right, and this switches your guy to the bench. So you can like make your guy do 120 more, and then you can go like 150, switch, and then you can put up like, I don't know, Fluttermane, a Mimikyu, or I don't know, whatever wall Pokemon. And then also with the Relicanth, you have Mawile. So then you could play like 1 double turbo in your deck, and then do 0 damage with Big Bite over and over again. And then you can Mawile trap people too. So
it's kind of cool with the like toolbox, that deck itself.
Yeah, probably not going to be good, but kind of cool, I guess.
20 damage, draw 2 cards. Calio for water doesn't seem great.
No, definitely bad.
Okay, Walking Wake EX.
Yeah.
Ability 220 HP, water, ancient. Ability Azure Wave. Damage from attacks used by the Pokemon isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So very. And then Cathartic Roar is water, colorless. 120 damage. If your opponent's Pokemon is affected by a special condition, this attack does 120 more. So Pseudo Shred on like Mimikyu, but like what deck can you play this in that does special conditions?
This is like, this card needs so much.
Yeah, I think they really like left this one on the chopping block. Like, I think this is just a generic EX.
Yeah, I think this is going to go in the bulk box. Unless they release some support for it. Like, I don't even know.
Raichu, 130 HP, stage 1. 1 lightning, colorless. This attack does 50 damage to each other Pokemon in play with any damage counters on it.
I could even hit your own Pokemon.
And then you can Roxanne them.
No, bad. I think there's an Electivire that does this, but like doesn't hit your own Pokemon. Like, I think Zorobox plays it.
Okay. There's a Bubble Zeraora, but no free retreat.
Yeah, bad. Beyond bad. Yo, Wug Trio EX?
Yeah, it's actually okay.
Yo, shout out Nathan Flanders, Wug Trio Enjoyer.
Are you
the mill version though?
Can you tell me about the? I mean, we just saw Zeraora, so I think it's a good time to tell the story. But like, what is the craziest mill you've ever heard from the Wug Trio?
Yeah. So my friend Nathan was playing at a locals recently, and he flipped triple heads on Wug Trio, and he milled 3 of his opponent's superior energy retrievals off of 1 Wug Trio. So basically, he's the GOAT.
I'd be very tilted.
I would also be tilted.
I'd be like, I lost to Wug Trio.
Okay, so Wug Trio EX. This attack does 60. Whoa, this is kind of good,
250 HP lightning.
Like, kind of low, but it's okay.
1 water, triple pump. There's nothing better than a triple pump. Discard up to Starbucks, bro.
Starbucks. Yo, Dunkin' Donuts last week. Now Starbucks reference.
Yeah, come on,
you must
man.
like coffee, eh?
With caffeine, 50 milligrams. I think you can have like 50 milligrams a day of caffeine. So one water, triple pump. Discard up to 3 energy from your hand. So very similar to Goldingo. 60 damage for each energy to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So you can snipe.
This is like, I don't know, probably not good. It like sounds okay, but
could be a splash in Goldingo.
I wouldn't. No, bad card.
Man, these pros just don't like fun.
No.
Okay, baby Iron Hands, future. Lightning colorless, 30 damage. Flip a coin if adds your opponent's paralyzed. Lightning colorless, 80 damage if your opponent's Pokemon's a V or EX, 80 more. So 160 for 3. And you can use Electric Generator on this.
Bad.
Okay.
The future Miraidon is just better.
Iron Thorns, Lightning, colorless, 70 times, reveal top 500 decks, 70 times for each future you find then, and then you discard them.
This could be like a cool
Mallow?
or just like play a ton of future. You get 5 cards. I think like probably not good enough to be a deck.
I think I will probably lose to this card at some point.
I hope not.
Because you know,
really hope not.
You look at the Gyarados, like the Gyarados, like you flip the top 5. Like, I mean, Water Energy is much easier, right? There's that Gyarados one prizer deck.
I mean, we saw Kyogre. It's like a kind of similar effect to this, sort of.
So, oh yeah, what if, instead of you just...
You need a way to like shuffle super. If they come out with a card that like shuffles a bunch of future cards back into your deck, then this would be good.
Mr. Mime Show. Your opponent reveals their hand. You may use the effect of support or you find there as the effect of this attack. Colorless. I don't think these effects have ever been good, right?
No.
Okay, this one. Bronzong, 110. Evolution Jammer, 30 damage. Your opponent can't play any Pokemon from their hand to evolve their Pokemon during their next turn. I just remember because Malamar used to splash Chimecho. And Chris Venier destroyed me with that. And I was playing the Vulpix, Swampert, Gardevoir. Yeah. Was there one more?
Vulpix,
Gardevoir.
No.
Solgaleo.
Yes.
Yeah. So like,
oh my gosh.
Unwinnable matchup.
Yeah,
unwinnable matchup. So like there is a lot of evolution in the format. Like,
and there's like that new card. I don't know what it's called, but it's Wally, right? You can evolve turn 1.
Yeah, and then imagine you can just stop. Like, could this just blank the Charizard deck?
Maybe. They still have Radzard, but
yeah, I mean, but they have to like
that's
evolve
5
and
energies,
put.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe this could be some kind of like control / I don't know. It doesn't do enough damage. I think that's the thing. You got to find a way to.
What if you poison your opponent's Pokemon, and then like the Verbank?
Yeah, like maybe that could be good. Yeah.
I think it's definitely something to consider. Just because Chimecho was very good.
This card is interesting to me. I don't see the vision yet, but I would not be surprised if something came from this.
And then there's this Reniculus, colorless, 120 HP. This is a stage 2. Summoning Gate. Look at the top 8 cards of your deck and put any number of Pokemon you find there onto your bench. Shuffle the other cards into your deck.
I think this is a trap. This like looks like a really powerful effect, but it's slow. Reuniclus is a stage 2, and it's kind of inconsistent. Like, what stage 2? I mean, you like. Again, I don't see the vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a brewer.
I'm not a brewer, I guess. So, yeah, I'm a hater.
I'm not a brewer either, but I mean, there are. These brought me back. Remember when there was the Beheim deck that was good?
Yeah, it did 90, item locked, and then shuffled itself into your deck, right?
And then you just kept going. And then I think they put a wall Pokemon up. So we haven't had a good Beheim for a while. Ancient Screamtail, I don't think this card's good enough. 90 HP, 1 prizer, heal 100 from your bench Ancient Pokemon, not good enough.
No.
Fluttermane, we already talked about, and having 1 retreat. I think the attack on this card's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes those 2 damage counters can be really relevant. It's colorless, so it's splashable in like any deck.
Yep.
This card's got potential. It's like kind of awkward. I don't think it's hitting quite enough Pokemon for it to be good, but like if Lost Box like becomes really good, then that card is good as well.
So I'm confused. Is Iron Valiant like half Gardevoir, half Gallade?
I think it's just based on Gallade. I think, but I guess it kind of does have like the like bottom part.
But sometimes it looks like like the full art looks like Gardevoir. So I'm but we have 2 Iron Valiants.
Okay.
Both are 130 HP. Both have 2 retreat costs. One is Psychic. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Put them back in any order. Is that like control deck good?
No. You'd want to look at your opponent's cards.
Then if you played a Future Supporter, it has 100 base for 3 energy. Psychic, Psychic, colorless. But if you play a Future Supporter, it does 200.
This could be good, like if Psychic Weakness became relevant, like if there was some big deck and then your future deck plays this. But I think if you're not hitting for weakness, you have better options.
If it did 220, then I think it would be
a little better. Then you could like actually kill Vs and stuff.
Other Iron Valiant is 20 damage to active, and then 20 damage to a benched.
This one looks really bad.
Okay. Iron Crown EX's card is... but Iron Crown EX plus this.
And then, like, I guess you could use Xatu to, like, get psychic energies now.
Yeah, or you can use Gardevoir.
Oh. Yo, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
No, but, like, yeah, 200. It's a one-prizer.
What future supporter? Oh, my gosh.
Mallow.
Cybernetic. Yo, Mallow.
And then you can Curlia.
And you Curlia draw the cards, and then you have Iron Crown, and you can Majestic Sword them. I don't know. Maybe I gotta cook this one.
Yeah, that's the first one. He's like, I might see the vision.
I see it.
But Iron Crown EX, I mean, this is definitely going to be played. Its attack is also very good. 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Doesn't care about Rapska or Jirachi. Or, I mean, you can even play this in Lost Box. I know they probably won't, but just the attack is actually very good.
Yo, I can play this in the guard. I can attack with this in my Gardevoir deck.
Yep, close out the game.
Or, like, just aggressively kill my opponent's basics.
Is Cresselia still in the format? Or is it rotating?
Yeah, Lost Origins. Yep.
Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, this. I told you about this card. You've been talking about it all. Relican?
Yeah, good card.
100 HP, ability. Each of your evolved Pokemon can use attacks from its previous evolutions. So
there's going to be some applications for this.
yeah,
There'll be more.
This ability is always very good.
Yeah.
Like, we had Arceus Gyarados, right?
With the memory capsule.
With memory capsule. So, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may search up to 3 basic fighting energy and discard them and shuffle your deck.
It's a very powerful effect. Like, I don't see the vision yet, but I would not be surprised if the deck played this.
Yeah, this card seems actually really decent.
Is this Excadrill playable? Oh, no.
No,
this
Excadrill is not playable.
Awful.
So I think there's something... Oh, but like in Roaring Dude?
Yeah,
Not
like
Roaring
the ancient
Dude,
deck.
Raging Bolt.
Yeah, because then you can solder the energy out. So maybe you just play the Drillbur.
Yeah.
And then maybe in the future, like, they come out with a cool Excadrill.
And Poffin goes to your hand.
No, no, it doesn't. It goes to your bench.
Oh, Poffin goes straight to the bench.
Poffin goes to your bench. You can't Poffin that, and it does make it worse.
Yeah. None of these are good. Roly-Coly.
I mean, Great Tusk, that's a good card, obviously.
Great Tusk, yeah, this is a full... I think both... I think there will be...
It says 80 more. I just think those numbers aren't high. I mean, maybe is the Sandy Shocks better than the Great Tusk?
A Sandy Shocks is 20, and then if you have 3 or more, it does 90 for 1.
That's efficient.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah, but it doesn't affect it by weakness, so I don't think that's as good.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Boulder is what? So what is the? It's not Terrakion.
It's Terrakion.
It is
That's
Terrakion.
a Terrakion.
Okay.
Yeah.
60 damage during your opponent's next turn. If it's damaged by an attack, put 8 damage counters on it. So it's Turnator.
And you can boost it with Iron Crown as well. Hit fighting weakness.
Yeah. Well, you could also boost Turnator with Volcanion. Remember?
The one in the past. Yeah.
Volcanion EX. You could boost the Turnator on that, and then. Very similar attack too. It's the exact same thing as Turnator, because Turnator was Bright Flame, right?
Yeah, 3 energy, 190.
190. This is 3 energy, 200.
So there's like a buffed Turnator. I mean, I would hate to play against this with Gardevoir.
And then you could just you just need to Ancient Sada attacking.
No, it's future. You can't Sada.
Oh,
Can
we accelerate to this in any way?
Oh wait, we kind of can't.
Reboot Pod.
Yeah.
Reboot Pod. Speaking of...
Wait, hold on. Read the Ekans. Is it a better Ekans? No. Okay, never mind.
Confused and poisoned.
Yeah.
And it attacks for double D. Dark. 30 damage.
Not the double Ds again, bro.
So the Ghastly also has double Ds. Suffocating gas for 30 damage.
Yo, the suffocating gas.
A Haunter's a double D too, bro. Super Poison Breath. And Gengar is the biggest double D. Tricky Steps, 160. I think... Okay, do you think this Gengar is actually playable? I like the moving their energy. Like, wasn't there that, like, tool that you guys played in, like, control decks where you gotta, like... Or was there a Pokemon that you would just move the energy to a Pokemon in the back? There
briefly. It was a Rabombi.
Yeah.
I don't think this is good. I mean...
The effect has never been good. Like, whenever they put this effect on a Pokemon, it's never been good. Not really weak to anything. Dark's always good.
Yeah, I like that it's weak to fighting, not grass.
You two-shot everything.
Yeah, I don't love setting up a stage 2 to do this. I feel like this attack could have been on a stage 1.
Yeah, but what if you just like took the Charizard deck and replaced Charizard with Gengar? Yeah. Well, it doesn't accelerate to itself but you can Dark Patch.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. Not a Gengar enjoyer.
I actually am. I love the artwork on this card, and I love Gengar, but please, Pokemon, make a good Gengar.
Yeah, no Gengargling happening here. Okay, Sableye. Move any number of damage counters from your opponent's bench Pokemon to their active Pokemon.
And I would like this better if it did the opposite, and you could, like, spread them out. But this is, like, I don't know. At best, you're, like, healing all of your opponent's Pokemon and then killing their active.
This is a Pokemon that I don't think we ever needed an evolution for. Farigiraf?
Farigiraf.
Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's basic Pokemon EX. Pretty Safeguard's always been decent.
It's kind of specific, though. Like, basic Pokemon EX.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't want to release an EX that is immune to all EXs.
Well, Iron Hands as well. Right?
Well,
The Iron Hands deck would be fine here. Lugia would hit this.
This attack is, like, pretty usable, too. Like 3 energy, 160. Like, it's not good. But
I mean, what was Night Spear?
Yeah, right. 3 energy, 90, 30. So, big buff.
Yeah, this is... you can I think this gets even Dragapult. Like Dragapult had the same. Well, no, Dragapult spread
5 damage.
But like I think this effect has always been pretty good. It is a stage 1, but it also is like there are just some decks that will only be basic Pokemon EX.
I wouldn't be surprised to see this as well, like in a control deck. You know.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some deck that you could just completely wall with one of these and like a Defiance Vest or something on it.
The big thing, however, it gets Frenzied Gouging.
It does get Frenzied Gouging. Yep, that's true.
Roaring Moon, Double D, Dark, Vengeful Feathers, 70 plus damage for each ancient card in your discard pile. Vespiquen was per each Pokemon?
And it was 20 plus 10, so... but it also attacked for 1 energy, because it was double colorless, right?
Yeah, this one is... But this, you can Dark Patch onto again.
Yeah, you can Dark Patch, you can Sada.
Yes.
All your Pokemon are very fragile. Like, with these one-prize decks, like, sometimes the stats sound really good, and, like, yes, you're using a one-prizer, so you trade well.
Yeah, it's not a stage 1.
But, yeah, it's a basic. But, like, every turn, your guy's dying every time. Like, the nice thing about using EXs is at the start of the game, sometimes you're getting 2-shot, which gives you 2 turns to find, like, your next attacker. Whereas with this deck, I'm pretty confident you're going to need to set up a new attacker every turn.
Yes, and that says 2 energy attacks. So, Scizor EX, colorless, 70 damage during your opponent's next turn, takes 50 less. Not that great. And then Metal, 120 discard. I think this is a functional reprint because we had a Scizor GX that basically did the same thing.
Yeah, please make a good Scizor. This Pokemon's so cool.
Yep.
I'm tired of using the same like Darkrai, Mewtwo, Charizard.
We're waiting for a good Evital.
Another good Evital?
Please print a good Evital.
I'd be down.
No, this isn't Trap Mawile. In Teasing Invitation, colors switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, but isn't Trap.
Yep.
Metang.
This card is good.
Very good. The thing that's good, so Metang, 100, stage 1. Once per turn, you may look at the top 4 cards and attach any number of basic metal energy you find there to your Pokemon. In any way, shuffle the other cards to the bottom of the deck. When you have multiple Metangs that stack, you're increasing your chances to draw metal energy because you're putting cards on the bottom that aren't metal energy instead of shuffling.
That's true. That's true. That does make this card way better. Also, we saw in a Japanese list, they played a 1/1 Hisuian Basculegion. And the Basculegion, for free, does 20 damage for each energy in your discard, and then shuffles them all in.
And then you just go back on the Metang.
And your Metang goes crazy. So there's definitely something here. Maybe like Dialga V-Star. Maybe a new metal Pokemon will come out in the future. But yeah, definitely keep your eyes on Metang.
I would grab some of these so I don't have to find bulk. And I was today years old when I learned how to pronounce Basculegion. Yeah. And I hope you learn too. Melmetal, like these. Iron Treads. Booster Capsule, it's fighting and metal. 60 damage.
Oh, that's like terrible. It's no damage.
And this is such a cool looking Pokemon too.
It is. That is a cool looking card.
Miraidon, Ancient Pokemon Dragon, 140. 30 fighting, colorless, 30 times for each ancient Pokemon in play. So can do up to 180, which is not bad actually. You can Sada and then go on a one prizer.
That's like not bad.
And then it has Shred. I mean, Shred's always been a good attack.
Yeah, I think this like ancient box kind of deck that seems to be coming out in this set is kind of a trap. I don't like these one prize.
Miraidon, colorless, 230, Dragon, 20, and then 10 for each damage counter. And then 280 for
fighting.
fighting.
I mean, it's ancient. It seems like most of the good ancient cards are either fighting or fire. So maybe with the belt, you can one-shot a Charizard. I would just rather, I don't know, be playing Charizard.
Yeah, actually, I take back putting 4. I didn't realize. So on the list, you only probably need 2 Miraidon EX.
Those are 4 Miraidon EX on your buy list?
This card is insane.
great
Miraidon.
card, yeah.
This card is so good with Iron Crown. And I think adding a Psychic Energy to your deck,
Kind of good, right?
like the Psychic Energy, being able to add one, because you can go onto you can KO 220 Vs.
With Miraidon.
With the crowns as well. Just to note too, unfortunately, you cannot Energizer to this card.
Oh, you can't.
You cannot.
Oh, I've definitely cheated in testing. Oops. Yeah, it's a dragon type. You're right. You cannot electric generator onto this thing. Oh, okay. Yes, good point. Good point.
And then the Maron EX, I think this could be a one of in some future decks. 60 damage, does 100 more. Okay, it's very like easy to set up the 2 energy, and then 220. But with Iron Crowns, it can hit up to 280.
Yeah, this card could be okay. I'd rather do other things. I think there's better options out there, just more efficient attackers that don't need a psychic energy.
Raging Bolt EX.
I like this card.
Yeah, Bursting Roar, is that too slow? I mean, you're going to use... this attack will be used.
It will be used. It will be used. The card is good because of the second attack, but the fact that it also has its first attack means, like, if you go second and you're kind of dead drawing, like, your dead draw percentage will just be way lower. So, this is definitely a good card. Raging Bolt Gardevoir, looking at that.
Raging Bolt Sandy Shocks, also, like, another way to play this. There's also Raging Bolt... Lost Box, I've seen versions as well. Okay. And then the Capsule really pushes this card to high levels of HP.
300. It's nice. Like, usually these EXs that do big damage, usually, like, damage themselves in some way. This one doesn't, so Booster Capsule, you have 300.
It's hard to damage it because it's always looking down on you. Okay, so I'm going to pose to you the question that Alex Ogyanovich, local, posed to me. Which of the 3 legendary Raikou, Suicune, and Entei would you lick?
Which one would I lick?
Yeah. I said Suicune. He's like, but I feel like everyone would lick Suicune.
Why would I lick them?
It's
just, look, if I had to lick one.
He asked me the question. I said it would be Suicune because I think Suicune would be smooth. You know, water, hydration. I said that, you know, Raikou probably get electrocuted.
Yeah, like Raging Bolt's on fire. Okay, I'm licking Suicune.
Yeah.
Like, fate of the universe on the line. You're Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth.
Suicune?
Give me Suicune.
He's like the crystal probably has like some potency in it. But I was like,
who knows? Maybe I get magic powers from licking the Suicune.
And Tay, like, even though is like a fire Pokemon, just looks so wet. Just looks like the fur is so
it's
matted.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I'm definitely not trying to lick a gouging fire. That does not sound like a good idea.
But Raging Bolt,
like, it's a giraffe, you know, maybe that's definitely second choice, you know.
Second choice, yeah. Like the Entei's on the bottom.
Yeah, Entei on the bottom. Definitely not licking Entei. That's terrible.
If you've liked this video and you've subscribed to Rowan as he goes on the march to 2,000 subscribers now, put in the comments which one you would lick, just so we can kind of get a poll.
It's gotta be Suicune. Surely everyone says Suicune.
This is another card that's been in a lot of decks. The Dunspark combo. Mm-hmm. We're running out of ideas. Dunspark and the Dunspark. So for the Dunspark, dashing draw. You may draw 3 cards and then shuffle it back into your deck.
Mm-hmm. What I like about this card is you can send it up at the start of your turn, and then it's like you have
draw card's a free retreater.
It's a free retreater,
wow,
right?
That's
basically.
Why you're the pro.
Mm-hmm. You can shuffle it away. So this card will probably see some play. I don't see the vision yet, but I would buy this card.
Okay. Cloud Family always good, but I don't think Delcat. We haven't had there's never been a good Delcatty in my time.
Oh, the Dunsparce might be good in a control deck because it's a good way to like draw cards and then get like your Pokemon off the board because control decks don't like to have like free prizes in play. Yeah, so it's a good way to like have a board in the early game and then it can like shuffle away later. So that could be interesting.
Whoa, this is Cult Family on steroids, a cappella. Mm-hmm. Search for up to 3 basics.
That's pretty good. It's too bad it's on a Chatot though. Like I definitely do not want a Chatot on my board.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
I'd rather have that other random EX that does this. You know, the bird Pokemon. It's a bird.
Oh, but Bombardier. We can only use the
Bombardier.
first turn, right? I don't know if you can.
You can use it on the later turns too.
Okay. Do you think birds are just skins of other birds, and there's no actual like true difference in birds? I had a world champion ask me that
Dude,
once.
What?
Yeah.
Some of these ideas, man.
Just
Where
like-
did this come from?
I was at the museum with world champion Henry Brand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. NAIC champion Stefan Ivanov.
Mm-hmm.
International finalist Brian DeVries.
Uh-huh.
And international, I don't know, he's a champion, I forget, sorry, but Burt Walters.
Yeah.
And Henry's like, we were in the bird section of the Royal Ontario Museum. He's like, do you think birds are just like skins of other birds and there's no originality when it comes to birds? And like, I mean, we're looking at Chatot right now, and then you look at Pidloof.
I guess, bro. I guess. They're all just skins of each other. You can say that about anything, though. Like, people. You can say that about people. You can say that about dogs.
Okay, but Fraligator and Squirtle are two totally different looking Pokemon.
Bro, what do you
They're
mean?
both
One of them's a
water.
turtle, one of them's a alligator. What's the
Yeah,
difference,
one's
bro?
got teeth.
They're both like menacing. Okay, Squirtle's not menacing. Blastoise kind of, I don't know, bro.
I don't
Same
know,
Pokemon.
okay.
But yeah, the bird Pokemon, they are kind of
Yeah, like
very
this
similar.
art, like it's very like, but
It's
even
like it's a bird. Cool.
like this Pidloof, like okay, this is a cool ability that you don't really see often, but its evolution, not great.
What is the okay? Maybe.
Oh,
wait,
free retreat.
but you'll notice it says or Unpheasant EX, and currently there is no Unpheasant EX.
Oh,
So Pokemon, if you never come out with an Unpheasant EX, I will be very upset. So there better be an Unpheasant EX, and hopefully it's good because that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, this card.
wow, he read the card. I didn't even know it. Search for the EX.
Yeah, you can search for the EX. Kind of good.
This is the not good Minchino. The good Minchino is the Call for Family one.
Pulled those out of my bulk box the other day.
Chinchino, very good card.
Yep, this card's really good.
5 energy knocks out a Charizard.
Yep, and you just power it up with Archeops. This will be good. This will be good.
One thing to say to the chat, it does not use, DTE does not count as 2.
Yeah, it's just one. Special energy card.
Yeah. We haven't had to get Drampa in a while. Right?
And we continue to not have a good Drampa.
Iron Juglius, the other one is much better.
Yeah.
They reprinted the booster cards. Awakening Drum, good in the HN box deck. Draw a card for each of your ancient Pokemon in play. Bianca's Devotion in the Charizard Mirror.
I think this card's too specific.
I guess they're not hitting you for 300, right? Like,
especially like once they know you have this card, you never get to use it. I'd rather use like a Turo.
yeah.
I think Cheryl's rotating. Is that right?
Cheryl is rotating.
Yeah. So Turo. Yeah, I'd rather Turo.
Boxed Order, search your deck for 2 item cards. Could be good going first.
Could also be good in like a control deck where you don't
Yeah.
like attack.
After you use your supporter, could also be good.
Interesting card. This card.
It does,
obviously
yeah.
very
Okay,
good.
everyone's playing. Why? Like, I was excited for a format with no VIP pass effect.
Yo, the Pothins, those look pretty tasty. Like, I would like one of those. I would eat one of those.
I'm gonna say
I'm kind of hungry right now.
I would say I would not eat one of those.
You would not eat one of those?
No, they don't
Yo.
look very appetizing to me.
Do you think they're like filled with something? Like, is there some kind of filling in those? Like, what is a Pothin? I don't know. Anyways.
Mallow,
Yep, that card's good. We've talked about that.
very good. This card's always been good.
Lots of ways to draw those cards. Good in
Airy, people are already
Champ
calling for this card to be banned.
Bro, I mean, it's very good. A couple more good cards come out to support this kind of idea of removing cards from your opponent's hand, and we could see some bans. But right now, I think we're good. The big thing,
Oh, because, I mean, people don't do this enough because we don't have enough effects. But when your opponent shows you their hand, write it down.
oh yeah, write it down. That's a
Write
big
down what's
one.
in your opponent's
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I think this card is good. But what's missing, like we've seen like some like complete lock decks in the past. What's missing is ability lock. So there's no path.
I mean, it's going to come eventually.
Yeah, so if the ability lock comes, and then then it starts to get scary, because then it's like, okay, like ability lock, Arbok, Roxanne, and we're like putting them to no cards, no
Garbotoxin.
abilities.
Give us Garbotoxin.
Oh, if they give us Garbotoxin,
give
holy
Garbotoxin.
crap. Explorer's Guidance, Hapu, we talked about that as
Very
well.
good card. And the thing, Hapu was like actually played in those first Mewtwo VMAX decks. Not VMAX, Mewtwo Tag Team.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't that great. So I think this is
like,
only for the Agent deck.
Also, like, sometimes decks like cards in the discard. Like, I think if this card was legal right now, we might see it in Roaring Moon. No, Research is just too good.
Yeah.
Research is too good. Never mind.
Full Metal Lab. All metal Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, take 30 less damage from attacks, and it's a stadium.
Yeah.
We don't have any good metal Pokemon yet.
Yeah. Also, like, something to think about is that this is a stadium where its effect is only useful during your opponent's turn, which means your opponent has their whole turn to try and bump it. So generally, like, these stadiums that only take effect during your opponent's turn are weaker than, like, something that was like, your metal Pokemon do 30 more damage, because you can get guaranteed value from that.
Remember Chaotic Swell?
That card was insane.
That was, and then having
my
to find
gosh.
ways to get rid of that.
Yeah. Marshadow and then...
Okay, Hand Trimmer. Do you think this is a good enough tech versus control?
No. I don't think playing one of these is gonna, like, save your control matchup. They have Pidgeot, so they're not gonna deck out. Maybe if it was part of, like, some kind of complex interaction where, like, you know that your control opponent needs to hold, like, a huge combo.
What about, like, in mirrors? Like, would you play this in the current Guardy mirror right now?
No.
I mean, there's a lot of Ionoing, but, like, that's the only deck that I think always has... I mean, Tina, like, getting to play this against Tina...
It's interesting, because, like, when your opponent has a massive hand, they also usually have, like, a decent amount of garbage in there, right? Like, some VIPs, some, like, stuff
so
they don't
you
really
make
need.
it if you Iono them, they're getting rid of back. Okay.
So maybe, I don't know. I think it's a control card. You play it in your control deck.
Okay, so Heavy Baton.
Great card.
Tool. If this Pokemon with a retreat cost of exactly 4 is attached to is knocked out by damage, move up to 3 basic energy to your bench Pokemon any way you like. I know that it's good and it's in that deck and we have Vacuum in the format, but when we had Wishful Baton, it was never good enough.
Yeah, because it can be vacuumed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we see a bit of play on a Primal Groudon, right? Because it couldn't be removed because of the Omega Barrier. But yeah, this card could be good if nobody plays Lost Vacuum, but if people are going
to play. But if they play one Vacuum, then the second one's like good,
the second
right?
one's good, yeah. So.
Hero's Cape, very good card. Ace back, 100
Yes.
HP. Like this, there's also, you can play this in Charizard as well.
You could give your Charizard 430. That's crazy, right?
Master Ball, this card has won a regional in
Has it?
Japan.
What?
The Champions League.
Oh, yeah.
Lugia played this.
Yep, I knew that.
Yep.
It's like, I really, like, if I played a Master Ball on my deck, I wouldn't feel good about it. Like, man, I have no Prime Catcher. Like, some of these effects are just so powerful.
Maximum Belt, like, this is going to ruin some people's days.
Yeah, this is a good card.
This is the biggest belt.
It doesn't... I'm actually surprised they didn't make this apply to V Pokemon. It'd be much better.
I think it's just to, like, do typing. So one of the biggest things right now that I see in Charizard, and there's a lot, is your tool spread. And I could ask you, like, your thoughts in the current format, like, Choice Belt, Vitality Band, TM Devolution, and Defiance Band, and Gloves. Like, how do you choose which two you put in your deck?
I don't know. Like, I'm not really a Charizard enjoyer.
Yeah.
So I don't really know.
And I think that's going to be with Maximum Belt. And also, in the Arceus mirrors, Maximum Belt would, like, just make one Arceus player just, like, way over the other.
That's true. If it hit V's, yeah, it would be really strong.
So, Morty's Conviction.
You can use this card only if you discarded another card from your hand. Draw a card for each of your opponents benched. So basically, discard 1, draw 5. I don't think this card is strong enough. Like at the beginning of the game, like this could just be a blank card. Same thing with like Roxanne. It's like worse because at the start of the game, you want your supporter cards to bail you out. So I would rather have like a research like this card. I don't think this card.
So I think this card is actually very playable. So there's actually a card called Brandon that you can only use if it's the last card in your hand and then you draw. But Erica's it wasn't kindness, but there was an Erica's card in a previous standard that did play this. It was the exact same effect.
The exact same?
It was
I vaguely remember it.
Yeah, it was a supporter, and it was played in a lot of decks because it's a clean draw 5 with no discard.
It's discard 1, but you'll have 1. Maybe if you're playing a deck that likes to build a massive hand, like a Control or Guardy or something like that.
Because I've seen it as a 1 or 2 in decks, so I actually think that might be. I think it is a good effect, and against like certain decks, like in the Charizard mirror, If you don't want to Iono, if you don't, you want to draw. I mean, you're going to play Barel, so you don't want to see more, but maybe in the Pidgeot builds. And if you want to clean stuff out. So, or in any of the Psychic decks, like against, like playing this in Gardevoir.
It would be pretty good. Just research. I love research. Draw 7, man. That's 5. Come
Wheel
on.
of Fortune. Perilous Jungle. So this is also another functional reprint. During Pokemon Checkup, put 2 more damage counters on each poison Pokemon. And in Pokemon history and lore, I mean, one of my favorite moments in Pokemon is during a senior regional. Some cards were thrown across the table in not a very gentlemanly way.
Oh, Gustavo Otto
with the
when his execute got donked by Laserbank.
So this is a functional reprint of Burbank City Gym. And we don't have any. Well, I mean, we have Pokemon that can poison. We have Brute on it and stuff, so we can go in. What are your thoughts of this card? Do you think this could potentially warp the format?
Right now, I don't think so. But ways to do more damage are good. Like I could see, like I don't know, you're trying to play some kind of deck, and you're like 30 damage short of hitting your big knockout. Maybe you're doing 300, and you need to do 330 to kill a Zard. Well, maybe you need to play Perilous Jungle and like. Brute Bonnet.
Yeah,
Capsule.
you hit 330.
Yeah, so I don't.
I mean, that's not like the actual thing, but you know, if you have a Pokemon that's hitting 250, hitting 280.
There you go. That's a good number too. So I could see this seeing some play. Maybe if Hypnotoxic Laser came
also
back out.
like a Ferrigraph. You know, something like that. Maybe you could find something else.
Do some more damage.
There's also the Paldean Wooper EX that can poison your opponent's Pokemon.
Yep.
Prime Cat. Okay. Is format
cards.
warping?
Format warping.
Bannable?
No, not bannable. It's
Escape Rope.
it's a bit better than Escape Rope. This is just another way to like boss and Iono in the same turn. Like
Isn't it? Did you get a pick for War Point back in the day, or is it?
Yeah, it was Rope. Yeah, Warp Point was Escape Rope. Yeah.
Okay, so this is just it's Guzma.
It's Guzma as an item. It's good. Like a lot of the ace specs are good. I think
Silene Prime Capture.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't think. Well, no. At that point, you just play boss.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, card's good.
Reboot Pod. I mean, I think we're seeing more Prime Catcher in the future decks. This is another way to do.
Yeah, I think at this point, like anytime you read an ace spec card, you should just think,
does this win me the game?
Yeah, or would I play this over a Prime Catcher? That's kind of my thinking.
The new stamp card.
Yeah,
I think that's the one that's going to compete with it, right?
Again, that's another way to do like the hand disruption and gusting effect in one turn.
Reset Rescue Board.
Yeah, card's good.
Yeah, this ability's always been good. Salvatore. This card hasn't been broken yet, but I think this card's going to be very good at some point.
Yeah, especially...
It doesn't end your turn.
Yeah, so you can like attack turn 1 with some kind of evolution, you know, Banette, Bronzong, right?
Banette, you know... Poison your opponent's Pokemon.
Do some extra damage.
Yeah.
Shout out Liam Halliburton, Banette enjoyer, Banette fanatic, listener of the podcast.
Lover of Dunkin' Donuts.
Lover of Dunkin' Donuts.
Lover of Dunkin' Donuts. Anything in the world can change, but people will still love Dunkin' Donuts. Miss Energy. This card's definitely
good. Especially if Tina is like good,
and
which
Moon.
I think it is. And yeah, Moon. Good card. We'll see some play.
Yeah,
for sure.
Weakness Guard Energy saw a lot of play back in the day too, just being put into deck. So this effect has been done. Probably better than Master Ball, worse than Master Ball.
Neo Upper Energy. It's hard. This is like a card that like you would almost want to base your deck around, like some kind like for Alligator or like some kind of Pokemon that needs 2 to attack, but you can only play one of them, so like you can't really base a strategy around this card. So I don't think this card's good. I don't think it'll ever see play. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Maybe in a control deck, like maybe.
Yeah, Reversal's just better.
Yeah. For the most part, Reversal, right? I don't know.
It gives Charizard 2 energy.
It does, but Charizard gives 3 energies when it evolves. So.
Oh. Well, you know, I mean, Rowan saw some of the new cards. I mean, I know some people have looked. I hope you guys have liked some of the new cards. Thank you for watching this episode of the podcast, and don't forget to put in the chat which would you like, Suicune, Entei, or Raikou.